Well, welcome everybody to another Mindful Monday. And we're all on a journey, and sometimes those journeys have challenges. However, you do not have to face those challenges alone. At Mindful Mondays, we believe that we can do more together, and we are here to support you holistically and without judgment. So, thank you for joining us today. And I would like to start by thanking our sponsors, Janice Debo, Legal Shield, and the Ben Method Academy for making this Mindful Monday episode possible. Well, I hope you are ready to elevate your personal and professional journey because today we have with us a seasoned professional development trainer and coach with over 20 years experience and a heart full of kindness. She has touched nearly 5,000 lives on Facebook, inspiring transformation through effective communication, stress management, and entrepreneurship. Her unique approach to sales training isn't about numbers, it's about unlocking true potential and igniting the spark within you. So please welcome Janice Debo. Janice, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. This is fun. I love your intro. It's very motivating and encouraging.
Thank you. Speaking of motivating and encouraging, what inspired you to go down this journey into personal development coaching?
Oh my goodness. Well, I had been in sales and marketing, mostly sales for, over 20 years. When I bumped into a gentleman who I was trying to sell him on something I was doing at the time. And as it turned out, he said, "Why don't you get paid for what you really do?" And I literally, it was like the deer in the headlights. I just said, "I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "Well, you help people all the time, you connect them, and you're always teaching and training." I said, "Nobody's going to pay me for that." And he's, I know, that's what I did. He laughed pretty hard. He goes, "Yeah." And right then, even on my website is a video that he did that day because he helped me set up a website and get me started. He said, "Now all you've got to do is go get your first client and get a guinea pig and don't charge them because then you can learn how it works." And that was almost 8 years ago next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
that it was how long ago?
8 years.
8 years? Wow. Are you still in touch with him then, or is he still following you?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a professional fisherman. He goes out on the high seas off the west coast, and so he's not in touch very much. But I did reach out and I said, "I want you on my podcast. I really want to honor what he did for me." And he said, "No problem. Can you wait till the fall? That's when I'll come back be on shore." It'd be fun to have a podcast from the high seas, but I don't think the reception would be very good.
You'd probably have to have Starlink on there to do
Probably
that.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He still does some coaching and things like that, but he's a speaker and tells his story and then goes back out on the high seas and does it again.
And enjoying life. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. So normally, I guess when you're coaching, we're talking about empowerment. So how do you define true empowerment in like both your personal and professional settings? Because everyone's, I think, is a little bit different.
Yeah, that word is it's almost become a buzzword, which is sad, but I really like the word because it encompasses power. For myself, I've had to gird up my loins many times in the over the years. And as your audience can see, part of my thing here, I have a podcast called and a book called Courage, Confidence, and Connections. My book is a journal and it's a lot of my stories and things I've overcome and how I've overcome these things. And I really think there's times I've used courage and I had no idea it was courage because I just had to do something, and I've always had people come alongside to help me out. Now, the way and empowering yourself, sometimes it takes another person, Laura,
Hmm.
and you have to reach out to someone who's been there, done that, and that's pretty much my story. There's not a lot I haven't been through. I can say some of it is pretty crazy. However, I can look back and say, yeah, I guess I was pretty courageous at that time because I've stepped into a lot of different opportunities. Now, the way I help people is I sit them down, I have them evaluate their strengths and their weaknesses. And in doing so, I help them to see just how much they have going for them. and look at, okay, you've been through that, you can get through this. And I do the business coaching, of course, but we can't separate business from who we are, and keep our brain, keep our sound minds, I guess I could say, because I'm not. I mean, I am not what I do. I am learning. I am more of than that, and I think learning who you are in the business world, you can find your true calling, your true desires. And I have my clients look at their passions. Um, I've had some deer in the headlights looks at me too, going, I'm not passionate about anything. I'm like, everybody's passionate about something. And
Right.
yeah, so I put them through their paces. A funny story, I had a client for quite some time a few years back, and she was filling out the strengths and the weaknesses. I said, she kept saying, I can't do this. I'm like, okay, come back with what you got. It took her 6 months to come up with 10 strengths. And she just couldn't, she didn't like herself. So we worked on that.
As I say,
And
I'm guessing the weaknesses list was a lot longer.
oh, double. Yes. And that's a lot of just being human. We tend to be our worst critic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how that's, people think it's like, it's amazing how if you think about that, it's like, it's great because we can say what's great about somebody else, but when it comes to ourselves, we have a tendency like not to do it. And so, but it sounds like you kind of picked up almost like with what your, the gentleman that discovered you and said, hey, you're not doing what you should be doing. So it seems like you took up that ball and run with it now. Now you help others to do the same.
Exactly. What was really fun, I was on a podcast back last year. It's been almost a year now. And his whole theme is helping people find that hidden sauce. He hit that secret sauce. And the more I talked with him, he said, well, so this has happened and that's happened. And that was one of the stories. And he said, all your life, people have seen the gifts that you have. And, and that's what has moved you along. And then that's what I do. And so that's true. I did pick up that ball and ran with it. And major turning points in my life where people have shown me things about myself that they thought was wonderful. And so when we start to believe in ourselves, it changes things.
Yeah, it definitely does. I've been asked that question myself, from people, and I told people, I said, the first thing I would recommend is taking time by yourself, shutting away all the noise, and
Mhm.
go within and figure out, like you said, what you're passionate about, what lights you up. Because if you're
Yeah,
not doing that, it's just another job, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been on the side of doing things I couldn't stand, and didn't do a bad job at it because I was, good at it. But things I just like, oh my gosh, is it 5 o'clock yet, kind of thing.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're saying that to yourself, then you definitely need to take another look at what you're doing.
you do.
But yeah, and it's funny because, people think, oh, work is work and home is home, but really it's all related because if you're not happy, one flows into the other.
Hmm. It totally does. And nowadays, more of us work from home, so we really have to deal with it, don't we?
We do. We
How
do.
to, yeah, how to separate that, give ourselves some boundaries so we don't lose having a life altogether.
Yeah. What are some of the unique challenges that you faced getting into this?
Getting into this,
Hmm.
well, I didn't have any trouble getting my guinea pig, but finding my way, because I've rebranded myself, I think 3 times or so over the last 8 years. I started out as a networking coach and business consultant because he saw that that's what I was superb at, connecting people and
Hmm.
networking. And so my first couple of years, I really focused on teaching people how to network and make connections and connecting people. And then I transitioned over to something a little, what I call, I love the word stodgy. The English use it. It's like stiff and, type A,
Hmm.
I guess, is another way to look at it. But I stepped into the world of doing something that was very rigid in coaching, And oh my gosh, I couldn't get anybody to pay attention because it wasn't me. It wasn't aligning with me. So after a few months of, pushing and trying to get myself to, to get it, I was like, this is not me. I realized I was not aligned with that nature of coaching. Although I can do a lot of things that I was doing, I wasn't passionate about that part of my coaching. And so it was about a year and a half ago, I started evaluating, okay, I did that list. I've got a very long list. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? And at one point I even asked clients, what do you think I do best? And that's always a good thing to ask a client if you're a coach or have a service. And, ask them what they love about it. If they want to do a review or something, that's fine. But I started reading my reviews. I started looking what I really love to do and help people with, and I asked a few people, and that helped clarify that I do personal development, training, and coaching because I just, that business, that consultant thing, even though that is inside of what I do, I am not primarily a consultant. I can work with people on that level. I know people to connect people with, that if they need more numbers, get them a bookkeeper, that kind of thing. So I I have to say, now I feel I'm in alignment. And at the same time I was rebranding last year, I was getting my book together. So that was really busy last spring. Really busy. So yeah,
That would be a busy time. So you feel really it was just not being in alignment, not necessarily that had anything to be, because I know some people find it challenging to be a woman and being an entrepreneur.
that's true.
Do you think it
That
had anything to do with that, or just mostly the alignment?
mostly the alignment, because the business I was, or the coaching practice that I was in, was mostly men, and some of the other women that were trying to do it too. It was a company. They said it's very patriarchal, and this is not a put down for anybody, but truly it was, because there were more men doing it, and I don't know if they just related to it better, but I felt it reminded me of my early days in sales, Laura. Put the IBM look, put on the suit, the starch shirt, and so it was more like that. I'm like, I'm not that now. That's not me anymore. I'm softer. I tend towards humor, storytelling, and helping people see their softer side, especially as women, because we get trapped in some of those roles, and it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable. It's like putting on a straight jacket, I guess, is a good analogy.
Yeah.
You feel held down and bound up.
But you don't anymore.
Not
So,
anymore.
yeah.
No.
Was there a pivotal moment that like shaped your approach to, your to leadership and to how you come about all this?
Well, I'm not sure there was any just one pivotal moment. I was on several boards of directors over the years, and one of those I learned a lot about economic development. That's a local um, group. I mean, business. What do you
Mhm.
call it? Organization. And so in that, I've I learned a lot, but it also showed me where I how I don't always fit in, and that's that alignment piece again. And in doing a lot of networking, that kind of thing, I'm very sensitive to what works and what doesn't anymore, what I'm aligned with, and what feels right, if that makes sense.
So you kind of use your own gut feeling and intuition or whatever to guide you as to where things are working, where they're not.
Absolutely. I mean, if you keep trying something and it's just going nowhere, it's probably time to make some kind of adjustment.
That's true. And I know when you are coaching and working with people, you're talking about effective communication and how it can transform lives. So, how do you define that? What do you define as effective communication?
Okay, I have a few pet peeves.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, my mother was an English teacher, and so English to me is important. Being able to communicate effectively. Well, I get real on some of this social media stuff where people can't spell and they can't they and emails. I just go, really, do you read this stuff before you send it, people? And so effectively, just I don't give English lessons or anything like that. Probably could, but I just like to. It's like, okay, I utilize the path elements, and that's earth, water, wind, and fire. And all of my clients take this assessment. In doing so, we learn what their primary elements are. Like, I'm water. I've got a super high percentage of water and then wind, which makes me relational. But someone that is, say, in bookkeeping, a CPA, maybe an attorney, a doctor, they're probably earth more than likely because they're looking at results. They're results oriented. I am people oriented. And the fires, yeah, they're very results oriented, and they're typically leaders. And so are every element can be a leader. We just lead differently. I lead from a people perspective versus a results perspective. I want results, but the person's my first priority, if that helps.
Yeah. No, I've never heard that analogy used before. It sounds kind of almost like it would be a lot like the disc. I'm familiar with the disc, the DIS. If you're a DISC, because
Yeah.
I know where I I know where I fall on that when you can tell personalities, but I've never heard of that one to child.
Yeah, it is so much fun, and everybody that's taken it says, "Man, this really works." The whole assessment that you take seems to be unrelated at all. I mean, weird questions, but we found it to be 98% accurate. Well, I worked with a group not too long ago, a leadership team that had, out of 10 people, they had high fires, and that was hilarious. I'm like, no wonder you guys can't communicate. And so I helped them work through some trust issues and some communication issues because the leadership team was mostly fire and a couple of strong earth, which they're all results oriented. They just do it differently. So it means learning how to speak someone else's language. Another way to communicate effectively, and this is another pet peeve, is when you're in social media, especially, or at a networking event, and the first thing somebody does is walk up, and all they do is throw
Bitch
up
slap you.
about, yeah, pitch slap, pitch slap. They just come at you with who they are and what they do and all this. I really, it's a pet peeve because if they're not more interested in me, I've come back at people on some social media and said, "Whoa, if you don't get to know me, I have no interest in what you're doing," and and that's true. Really, talk about a deer in the headlights. If you're just going to stand there and try to sell me on what you do and not find out about me, I don't even need what you are selling or wanting to have me look at. It's,
Yeah. I always found that amazing because whenever I don't think no matter what company or group or whatever, that's what they teach you to do, right? You're supposed to
mhm.
have your elevator pitch. You're supposed to have this, and that's what you go do. But even when it came to sales, and I've never considered myself a salesperson, I'm like, no, I can let people know what their options are, but that's it. But I'm like you, I'm about relationships. I'd rather say, hey, how are you doing? And, do stuff. But it's funny to see sometimes the people's reactions. I've worked jobs before where you're supposed to, tell them about a product you have, and it could be like the skincare or something. Like I've had Miracle Aloe Cream or whatever before, and I go to say hi. Oh, I just brushed my teeth. Okay, well, for one, it's not food, but I mean, they're just so ready with I
Yeah,
don't want to hear it.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure why all that got started or why people think that works. Do you have any insights on that?
Um, well, it started, I'm sure, a long time ago when you had the oil, the guy out selling in the wagon, the, the snake oil kind of stuff. Somebody came up with that method. In fact, when I started in sales, I took a couple of Dale Carnegie courses and a Brian Tracy course, and those were very strong methods that they use. And a lot of people follow people with those methods. However, I was not getting a lot of traction in sales. And I was in a small bookstore in North Carolina when I lived there. The This little book just practically jumped off the shelf. It's called Relationship Selling. It's out of print, but I would recommend you can get a used copy on Amazon. But when I got that and read it, I realized that aligned with me, even though I wasn't using that word aligned. It resonated with me. I went, oh my goodness, it's all about the people. And as soon as I did that, Laura, I tripled my sales at least, and had a banner year that year. But really, it is about the person and the relationship. um, you can't overemphasize that, and that's in anything. That's the other day on a call, I was talking about this very subject, and I said, I looked at the camera and said, it's like dating, you know. Don't even come at me and talk about yourself. I've had phone calls with people that were trying to go out and this kind of thing, and they don't even ask me anything about myself. I'm like, really? Hmm.
Yeah. And then if you get in your head, you're always taught, okay, always make it about the other person. Well, that person's trying to make it about you. You're it's like you just have this whole congestion thing going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and there's some questions you can always ask, and this, like, how are you? Or, um, and if you want to ask somebody what they do, or find out about their family or their hobbies. And like out here where I live in Oregon, it's do you enjoy the weather here? No, it's really hot and smoky. But I mean, try to find some common ground, and you won't always find it, but it's more important to learn about the person in any type of relational setting.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we need to take a break from our sponsors, but I know you have a lot of success of building, especially on social media, because pretty much nowadays, if you want to connect with people and build, you need to be able to be with social media. So I'm sure you'll be able to give us some good tips
Okay.
about what of the do's and don'ts
Okay.
when we return. So we will be right back.
Okay.
I used to say we need a lawyer in the family. Having Legal Shield is better.
For less than $1 a day, you get access to vetted lawyers.
Want to create your will? Call Legal Shield. Got personal contracts to review? Call Legal Shield.
Do you need a vetted law firm to write a letter? Call Legal Shield. Warranty questions? Call Legal Shield.
For less than $1 a day, it's a no-brainer. Shield yourself from costly legal expenses. Call Legal Shield today.
You feeling stressed, burnt out, disconnected, and just stuck, and you want your mojo back? Hi, I'm Linda Joy Ben. I'm an international speaker, best-selling author, and transformational catalyst, and founder of the Ben Method, which is a revolutionary approach to healing, self-care, and transformation. I've had over 35 years of expertise and helped thousands globally around the world who were stressed, fatigued, and looking to reclaim their health and their well-being. And using my Ben method, I've also healed my own body of cancer and autoimmune medication free. Now I work with others, empowering them to reclaim and come back into alignment with their soul's mission, and to restore their balance and freedom in their life, and then jump out of bed and go, wow, I feel fantastic. I love my life. I have the best life. And then spread that happiness out to their loved ones and everyone that they come in contact with. If you would like to reclaim your mojo, let's connect. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
So, Janice, like I said, social media is kind of almost, I think, a must, wouldn't you say, with business nowadays?
It has really exploded in the last 5 years, and we all know why. But you have to be on there at some level. It can also be all consuming, so that's why there's so many out there trying to sell you their services, and they can do it for you. I do a little bit of it for clients. I don't do a lot of it, but you have to have a presence. You have to have a presence in the social media world. You do.
Yeah. Because I've met a number of people where they're trying to start a new business or they're trying to get into entrepreneurship, and they want people to know this, but then they want nothing to do with social media. And I'm like, You can control it, and we were talking about communications and your pet peeves. So, and I know it can get bothersome because I've had some people because maybe they are starting out with, "Oh, how are you?" But the way they start out with "How are you?" You know, it's only a few sentences in where they're going to go boom and hit you with something, or they're trying to scam you into something.
Yeah.
How do you weed through all of that?
Whew. Well, I've certainly had my share of craziness on there. And speaking of the dating scene, don't do it with social media, let me tell you. Stay away, run far, run fast. I would say some of the Facebook is good. It's a good place to meet people. It is more relational and more social than somewhere like LinkedIn. If you're trying to start a business, you want a presence in especially Facebook, Instagram, and I don't know about TikTok. I just posted my first video today. I haven't gotten into that, but Alignable is a very good tool as well. You want to find one that you can meet the people that are, pardon me, going to be in your uh, aligned with your your direction, your goals. I've met some absolutely wonderful people recently, and not every don't go joining every group. I've got a lot of groups that I post in, but I think one thing that you can do is as you start getting your feet wet in social media, is find a couple of groups that you can meet some people in, but always be the one to find out about them first. Look at what they do, ask questions, and you're going to get people hitting on you for all kinds of things. I guarantee it. The best thing you can do is say no thank you and keep moving. If you have to block a few, most of us have, go ahead and do it, but don't let them get under your skin. I think it's a lot of people are out there to take advantage, and we're not going to avoid those people. There's no way. But your antenna can get sharp and be more aware of people that are not good for you in your business. If you're starting out, Alignable is probably one of the best to meet some people. You can make connections there. I just had a friend of mine sign up, and I'm introducing her to people. So that's really a profound platform. I love it. LinkedIn, LinkedIn's a little tougher to navigate for the rookie. You may need to go in and learn about that one. It's okay, but you do need a presence. You've got to have a good bold profile on all of these, and realize they're different. Realize Facebook is going to be more fun and games. Don't get caught up. I mean, I love to laugh at some of the stuff on Facebook. People are crazy. People are just crazy, but it's entertaining. Their craziness can entertain.
Yeah.
However, yeah, just be aware you don't get sucked in, and 3 hours later you're going, "Oh, what have I been doing?" so, so it's easy to happen.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for people? Because I know when you're starting out and you're looking, that there are certain um, audiences for each one. So, is there any tips of how you can kind of figure out who really is your audience, what platform is best for you? Because I know I know consistency is key in anything on any platform. I mean, if you expect to just put one post here on Facebook and then maybe several over here and then one there, you don't really get anywhere. But how do you figure out exactly which platform is best for you?
It's going to be have a lot to do with the nature of what you're doing. And for instance, I've got a client who's in excavation. So she's a woman-owned construction company. Now, for her, I help her with some of her Facebook stuff because she lives in an area that I found some groups, and I'm getting her awareness out there. I put her stuff on LinkedIn, but it's not a local audience. So figure out, okay, am I selling to anybody in the world, or am I just selling to my community? That's going to be very important. If you can't, like with her, she can't ship her excavation business, so it's irrelevant to her for her to be in groups or talk to people who are not local. her business is strictly local. Mine, I can do anywhere. And the platforms, I'd say LinkedIn is worldwide. And if you've got something you can do worldwide or sell, you can look into that. Alignable is also worldwide, but Alignable would come into play as much or more for locals because you can meet a lot of local people that way. Facebook is worldwide. They all are to some extent, but if you need local groups, Facebook is a good place to start. Alignable is a good place to start. If you don't have a visual business, forget the videos. I mean, videos are good, but you've got to be comfortable in front of a camera and talk about yourself. And so I'm not sure about, like I said, about TikTok. I'm new to that game, so most of the stuff I see from TikTok is people being stupid. So I want an audience for myself that is interested in improving their life and business. And TikTok may not be. I may throw a video on occasionally, but you want to know, you've got to determine the type of business you do. If you're network marketing, which is, there's a lot out there, Facebook is a good place, but always be the one to get to know the person. I went to a network marketing training one time, and one of these big shots, and I call him a big shot. I won't mention the name because I don't even remember it, but he trains network marketing companies. And his whole thing was, we're going to reach out to as many people as possible in 15 minutes. And for me, that was, I'm out of here. It didn't feel authentic and genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. These people, I don't want them to think it just bothered me immensely. They train, there's a lot of training that goes on with that type of thing. Even LinkedIn training, they train their people to, when they make a connection, hit them up. I'm like, no, don't hit me up. You won't get anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'd say you need to know who your audience is, determine if it's local, if it's worldwide, and kind of, you're going to have to get in and poke around and see, experiment. It takes time to really hone it down. My followers have grown substantially to almost 6,000. And I don't even know how I got that many. I just post consistently. They say 5 times a day, but you can schedule Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
My nose is itching. I don't.
Yeah, I know everybody's got different theories, 5 times a day, or you do different times a day. One thing's, is consistent. I always tell people, I said, for one, if you're going to tell them that this is your daily post, then you better be on there daily and not just, once in a while. I mean, if you set an expectation, then you should follow it. But I know there's also a lot of debate about what's the more professional platform, or what has the younger generations. But I know older people that have, because a lot of them say TikTok is for the younger generation, but I know a lot of older people that have been quite successful with businesses on TikTok also.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mostly see laughs and funny things. And like I said, the stupid things that people do, it reminds me of the show America's Funniest Home Videos, doesn't it?
Or the bloopers. Yeah,
bloopers. It really does. That's what a lot of TikTok I've found. But on Facebook, you're going to find a wide variety of audiences, and you can schedule your post. That's one of the real benefits. You can spend a block of time once a day or even once a week and schedule out what you want to post. You can go in and change it too. But that's the only platform I think. Well, Instagram might have a scheduler too, and you can connect the two. Be yourself is my biggest piece of advice. Be genuine. Post things that can help other people. Doesn't have to always be serious. I post stupid stuff, believe me.
just to let them know you have a sense of humor, right?
Oh yeah. And some things are just as cute as they can be. And some days, there are people, if they're having a bad day, they just say it right out there. It's not a good day. I've had to do that too. I've had to post something that was like, oh my gosh, or asking for advice for stuff, or who do you know kind of thing. And that's another thing. If you're in business and you happen to bump into somebody in a group or otherwise that says, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. Connect them with somebody that you know. You're going to make a friend that way and make a difference. Let's say they're like my client. She was looking for a bookkeeper. Actually, I told her she had to get one. So I stepped in and said, I'll find you one. And they just popped up in my feed and in a group. I said, okay, you're the one. And this worked out really well. Always be willing to help. And I tag people all the time if I see something that's going to benefit them. And people appreciate that. Be kind,
Yeah.
be yourself, and get over your camera shyness, because nowadays you're just got to be in front of a camera.
You're on somebody's camera anyway.
You're already there. You might as well take advantage of it.
Yeah. And that, I agree with you with that too, because I'm about Mindful Mondays, being positive and stuff, but that doesn't mean bad things don't happen or you don't have a bad day. And it's not that the world necessarily needs to know it. I think for me, I look at it as just so that they know it's not always a perfect day, but you can find a positive, in it. It's not to say that everything's always roses. We all have challenges.
Yeah, I'm a recovering perfectionist. So, for me, I've started doing videos without makeup, messy hair, all that stuff. I'm like, okay, get over yourself. Because if you're going to go put on makeup every time you want to get on the camera, it ain't going to happen. You just need to just deal with it. I've filmed a little video here and there with sitting in my bathrobe with my hair all wacky and and no makeup. But it's good for people. You never know who's going to pop up in there and appreciate what you're doing and what you're saying.
Well, I think it just makes you more human. You don't have to always be so polished. And
Right.
I'm like you, except for I don't call it recovering. I tell people I am perfectly imperfect now.
That's good.
I have
Yeah.
embraced being imperfect. I'm good with that.
Oh yeah, nobody's 100% perfect, and if you think you are, ask somebody that knows you very well.
Yeah. Well, I've always been people always told me, called me a perfectionist. I told them, you call it perfectionism, I call it pride. But when I started learning where that stems from and how much it was keeping me stunted in growing or doing what I should do, and I'm like, or causing me stress and just, which affects your health. And I'm like, yeah, nope. You know what? I'm going to be me, and it resonates with who it's going to resonate with.
Absolutely, absolutely. There are people that we've had in our lives. Sometimes we have to let them go because we don't resonate with them, or if they cause stress. I'm a fan of as little stress as possible, and realizing when something is stressing me out has become a pretty good awareness. Like, oh, what am I doing?
Yeah. Then something needs to shift.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned finding a community and community. What would you say, what role community plays in your personal development?
Oh my goodness. Well, we all need people and support. Finding that community where you feel like, family, that they feel like home and they're supportive. They may not do business with you, but they're there to support everything that you do, or they believe in you. Um, the area I'm in is very community oriented, and I don't get out in a lot of it like I used to. However, it's a matter of fact, this was really funny. I had been a member of a fairly significant group, and when I stepped away, I decided to, it wasn't serving me at the time. So I was telling a friend of mine about this. I said, have you gone back? And she said, no. I said, yeah, I didn't get any ROI. And she was helping me move at the time, right? And she looked at me and said, are you kidding? You met us and they were helping me move. I'm like, yeah, there's ROI right there.
It's not always about the dollar, is it?
Nope, nope. Yeah, it's about support, and I've got some really good friends that I'll never meet face to face in all likelihood. That, including you, I mean, I don't know that we'll ever, meet face to face, but people that are willing to support you and that you can support them in encouragement, helping to lift their spirits, anything, just to be a part of. We all need people. Bottom line, we all need people. We're not that. What is that song? Was it Simon and Garfunkel? I'm a rock.
I am rock. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a rock. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
We all have our moments, and I know we weren't necessarily meant to, be alone and be by ourselves. We've always needed to have some kind of communication and connection with others, but I
Yeah.
never put anything outside the realm. I connect with people all over the globe, but that's what travel's for.
Hmm.
Can go travel, have a retreat, go have a cruise together. You never know. Anything's possible.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It could
So,
be long term or short term. Just go with it.
yeah. So when it comes to your coaching and those that you do coach, how do you measure success?
Well, we all have a measure of success to some extent financially, but seeing people change and seeing their lives change. Um, who said if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want? Somebody said that. Somebody famous. Um, Maybe it was not Norman Vincent Peale. Zig Ziglar. I think it was Zig Ziglar.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I think I love to see people having success and doing well and connecting them with people that can help them as well. It just means the world to me to see somebody's life change and to know that I was even a small part of that. That's that's success to me. And the bank account is always a positive thing, but
It's just not the first thing.
not the first thing. No, it's not. It's not really. I've I've been a privilege to meet some of the most wonderful people, and even just coaching them for a few weeks. I've got one gentleman. I gave away 2 scholarships this year. It was at the beginning of the year, and I interviewed them. I took applications and talked to them to see who I wanted to work with. And one gentleman, boy, he's a client, and he just raves about how I've helped him. But you need somebody that can see beyond. I call it the forest for the trees, because we get in the middle of our own stuff and we can't see where the problem is or where we need to change or improve. So in coaching, it's really important to me to have. Now, I've got a lot of good reviews. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for all those reviews. That the words do speak loudly. But seeing people change and seeing their lives change and get better, that's important to me.
Yeah. I'm with you with that. I totally agree. So, what advice would you give to someone that's feeling overwhelmed or stressed by their career?
Whew. Ask yourself some questions. Like Laura says, sit down. Just sit down, get a notebook or whatever you want to write on, and sit somewhere. Maybe go out for a walk, sit in your living room, whatever you want to do. But just sit with yourself and ask yourself some questions such as, do I like what I'm doing? Do I really am I enjoying it? Can I end the day and say I made a difference in my own life and somebody else's? It's really got to do with self-examination. What is helping me be the best I can be? What do I enjoy doing about this? If you like a job, write down the plus and minus column. One column of yes, one column of no. I hate this, I love that, kind of thing. And see what weighs out, and then ask yourself, what am I really good at, and what speaks to me? What really feels right? And what do I enjoy doing the most? If that helps.
Yeah, that's I would say that's a great place to start. Now, you have your YouTube channel. Is that where you hold your podcast
It
on?
is. Yes, it is. Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast. I'm all about those 3 words.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that and why you started it?
Oh, I had been on the radio for about a year. I don't know if I'm still on there or not. I don't listen to it anymore. I recorded all this stuff and it was playing every day, but I don't have any affiliation, so I don't listen. Anyway, so I started recording my blogs, which is my book is all based on the same name, and so they got on the air, and I learned a lot about speaking and how to do what I was doing to sound more professional. Well, as that and help the individual there that got me on the radio. That makes sense. He got me on the radio, but he also I had encouraged him to do interviews. So he did a few. I connected him with people, and he did a few. It was just audio, no video. Well, at the end of last year, I just like, man, because this person I knew, he's a DJ. I said, I'd love to interview you if that would help you. And he was a client on some different things. He said, yeah, that sounds great. So we got on a Zoom and did one, and it was fun. I got it out there. It's on the YouTube. He's been on there 3 times. I've been interviewed him 3 times. And the next thing I know, I thought, I need a name for this thing, don't I? So I said, yep, I'm going to stay consistent with courage, confidence, and connections. So I was in touch with another friend of mine who's writing his 3rd book, I think. I said, would you like to be interviewed and be on my podcast? He said yes. And from there, it's taken off. I'm booked into December already. And it's fantastic. I didn't know. I mean, I knew a lot of people, but oh my goodness. The years I'm going to be booked through December, probably into next year soon. So people can listen to it. There's no topic beyond courage, confidence, connections. It's just a free flowing, like we're doing here, just banter back and forth, spontaneous. But it's encouraging because I've got people from all walks of life on there, people doing all different things, and so it's all about encouraging the public to have courage, and where other people did wonderful things, maybe you can learn and get some advice from them. The podcast is great. Again, it is on YouTube, and I've also got some like this where other people are interviewing me. Those are all on there too, and this one will be when we get there. But yeah, it's a fun podcast, and you can listen to all of that. You can also connect with me and learn more about my book, which if you read my journal, you learn about me. So.
Good. So your book, is that on your website or?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just janicedebo.com. You scroll down. There's a free ebook. So whoever's listening to this, you can sign up for the free ebook. That's easy. And then you can order the journal. So I've got a PDF version and I've got a hard copy. If you order the hard copy, which I recommend, I sign it. I have them here where I live. So I sign it and I write a nice note to everybody that buys one, so they have a personal author signed copy.
Okay. Yeah. So how can individuals begin to craft their own paths to empowerment and success? I know we talked about the first part, the first part of getting there and finding your passion, but then where do you go from there?
Well, if you can hire one of us. Oh, if you need some help, you can reach out to a coach, and sometimes that's what it takes. We get stuck easily. So the next thing, because I saw the gentleman that helped me got me started. I had to do a little research. I had to do some learning. Just experiment. Okay, let's say you want to be a writer. Well, join a writers group. Find a couple of courses you can take, but start writing in a journal. If you wanted to become an author, get a notebook and start writing. Write your thoughts out. If you want to have a other kind of business, you can still do some writing about what is it I really want. What do I want to accomplish, and see what comes up. It's like, maybe you want to be a home builder. Well, why do you want to do that? Why is always the big question. Why? And then you'll start going in the right direction, finding your path. You've got to ask yourself why you want to do something, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We have about 5 minutes left, Janice. So, what's on the horizon for you? Where do you see all this going?
Well, I'm working on my memoirs, and let me just tell you, if anybody's thinking about writing their memoirs, get started, but it isn't easy. So let's just say that. The other book came very easy for me because I'm a storyteller. In memoirs, that's my big challenge on the table now. I've gotten 2 chapters out, and I'm working towards it because it involves a lot of memories and family history and stuff. but with doing more podcasts, continuing to grow my podcast, and help more people with my coaching business. Just keep going in that direction.
Do you have any big goal, or where you see it going in the future?
Well, I want to do some public speaking. Um, I am going to be on a summit this weekend. Public speaking is on the horizon, and getting some, you know, help with that is definitely in the plan. And
Yeah.
talking about, and it will all be on the same platform: Courage, Confidence, and Connections.
Don't fix it if it's not broken, right?
Right. That's right.
I want to thank you for taking the time and sharing all that stuff, all that information with it, because I think it's very valuable. You know, like I said, a lot of people are trying to get into business and build some kind of business or a presence, and social media is a huge part of it. Even though I think a lot of people like to try to omit it, but it's very tough to use old methods in a new world.
Yep, that's right. And there are local networking groups you can go to. But I think finding something online that suits you for whatever you're doing
Yeah.
is super important to be able to grow what you want to grow. But you got to ask yourself those questions, why, and do a little research on other people doing what it is you like to do. That's always, I mean, I've researched other coaches, and that's how I finally landed in the lap of I'm a personal development training and coaching and doing the path elements. So I had to go and do what was right for me. So don't be afraid to step away from what doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's funny because we keep getting hung up on these terms, how this is a buzzword, and then everybody's like, oh, now coaching is overused. They want to use consulting, or now we're using mentorship, or we keep trying to find. I'm like, eventually we're gonna like run out of words because everybody wants to have a label for something.
I know. Matter of fact, a coach that worked with me early on said she does personal development training and coaching too, in a different realm. But she said, I determined that I didn't need to have a label. I just need to focus on I'm me, but I do this, and that's where I came up with that. I don't call myself a trainer or a coach. I do those things.
Yeah, that's why when people ask me, I said, I am the entrepreneur of me. Whatever label you think fits, that's on you. But
Yeah,
I
me.
don't.
Oh, me incorporated.
Yeah, me incorporated, me Inc. So,
Me. All right.
what do you want to leave everybody with today before we sign off?
Oh, I want to say thank you for watching. Reach out if I can be of any assistance and encouragement. Laura's terrific, as we can be a team for you. Everybody needs a shoulder and everybody needs a hand. And don't be afraid to reach out. But most importantly, be you.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be the me incorporated in your life.
I like that. Yeah, so I always tell people is be yourself, because yeah, if you're trying to follow somebody else's steps and follow their mold, you can really wind up getting lost. So
Totally.
thank you so much, Janice, for
Thank
joining us
you.
today. Everybody, I hope you found this insightful. And obviously, if you need help with coaching, Janice is a great person to talk to. She's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. So reach out to her. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will see you all next Monday.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Laura.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.